Okay, mathematicians, so today we are looking at dividing whole numbers by fractions. Just a quick review, when we looked at dividing a whole number by a unit fraction, for example, in this case, 6 divided by 1/3, we were looking at division as repeated subtraction. So what this is asking us is, if we have 6 wholes, how many 1/3s can we take away from those 6? So here we have our 6 wholes. Now, before we start looking at how many we can take, I want to ask you, how many 1/3s would I have here altogether? Well, right here, we know we're going to have 3/3 or 3 1/3s. So if we look all together, we end up with 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 1/3s. So we have 18 1/3s. So if we're taking away 1/3 each time, we can take away 1/3 once, 1/3 twice, 1/3 3 times from each of these wholes. So altogether, we'd be able to take away 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 1/3s. Now, let's look here where our divisor is not a unit fraction. We're looking at 2/3. So that means we have our 6 whole objects. We're going to take away 2/3 each time. Now, just like last time though, if we look at it, if we were to count all of these, we start with 18 1/3s. But last time we only took away 1/3 each time. This time our group size is 2/3. I'm going to take away 2/3, and that's going to make one group that we've taken away. Here we'll take away 2/3 again. Right here, that will be our second group. Here's 2/3, and that'll be 3 groups. There's another 2/3, so that's 4 groups. 5 groups. That's kind of hard to see. Let's put a 5 a little bit darker in there. There's 6 groups of 1/3. Here are 7 groups of 1/3. 8 groups of 1/3. And 9 groups of 2/3. I'm sorry, I said 1/3 there. 9 groups of 2/3. So we started off, we had 18 1/3s. Those 18 1/3s though had to be put into groups of 2. So we had 18 1/3s because 6 times 3 gave us 18 1/3s. And then we had to divide it into groups of 2. So we ended up with 9 groups of 2/3. Let's use that same concept to look here, and we're going to divide 6 divided by 3/4. So we have our 6 whole objects. We're going to be taking away 3/4 each time. Well, let's stop and think like we did last time. How many 1/4 are we going to have all together? Well, here we're going to end up with 4 1/4. Here we'll have 4 1/4, and so on. So we'll have 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. So we'll have 24 1/4. So there's one group of 3/4, two groups of 3/4, three groups of 3/4, four groups of 3/4, five groups of 3/4. Let's number these. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups so far. There's 6 groups of 3/4. 7 groups of 3/4. And finally, 8 groups of 3/4. We started with 24 1/4. We had to put them into groups of 3. So we can look at it this way too. So 24 divided by 3 gave us 8. So we ended up with 8 groups of 3/4. And that's our example for dividing whole numbers by non-unit fractions.